Hi there, beautiful people. So thrilled to have a conversation today with one of our most popular guests, Martha Creek. And Martha is a speaker, a minister, a leader, coach, consultant, facilitator. She has often been described as having a spirit of innocence, compassion, and generosity, all of which support her in being able to deliver a great deal of information in a profoundly simple, humorous, and attainable way. Hi, Martha. How are you?
Hello there. Well, I'm delighted to be here. I feel honored. It's one of my highest privileges. Part of my mission, as you know, from our time together is to get empowered teachings to the whole of the world. And I delight in this way that is being made possible here through this podcast. So wherever you are, listeners, I bow to you and whatever inside of you that keeps you enrolling and engaging in self-awareness, self-realization, and learning. And as long as you've got power in you that's leaning you toward that, there's a bounty of ways to fulfill it. And I'm delighted to be any part of that.
Oh, thank you so much for being here. Now, I want to start talking a little bit about the science of mind. There's Ernest Holmes, and you right now have a ongoing, I don't know what you'd call it, a seminar, whatever. But before I got to Unity, I didn't know anything about science of mind. So can you tell our listeners a little bit about that?
Well, it's a very foundational grassroots teaching for me. As I was not churched, I was looking at teachings and teachers that aligned with what I actually believed. And as I would have conversations about this, what I believe, that wasn't exactly what some fundamental beliefs are. They would say, oh, you think like Unity, or you think like New Thought, or you think like Science of Mind. So
Right.
I took to heart and started to look into this. So it's a textbook from the 20s, as I believe, when some of this New Thought came into the light a bit about what the movement of New Thought is, a different way of thinking that's now called a positive path for spiritual approach, or a positive path to Christianity's teachings. Science of Mind was a marriage between spirituality and science for me. And last year in 2023, I did an immersion into the Science of Mind again. And it was a re-immersion for me because I used that text over 25 years ago now. And it's been transformative for me over the years. So I did an immersion back into the text. So every single day in my readings and reflections and contemplations, I recorded it and put it in the YouTube and into the offerings of social media and that.
Yes.
And somebody else has been inspired by the teachings, and they asked to make reels out of it, shorter 1 minute or so sessions in it,
Mhm.
and doing that and posting that.
That's
And
great.
it's been used now on social media, the Facebook, Instagram, and now TikTok in a new venue for me. And it's amazing to watch people's relationship to these teachings
Yeah.
that they, like you had not heard of yet. And it still is in alignment with what they actually believe.
Right. And I know science of mind, it's practical guidance on prayer and meditation, and also about building self-confidence. And most people today that are struggling, that's the things they're struggling with, they just don't feel like they're who they should be, and they don't know how to receive or express love. So do you think we could all benefit from these practices?
Definitely. Even if, every single thing in the world, I believe, teaches me how to do it or how not to.
Mhm.
So it will be an exploration of what people actually believe and think. It'll be a solid foundation for them to get truer and more grounded in their own convictions, what they actually believe. instead of what they're trying to believe or pretending to believe, or what their traditions of their family
Yeah.
want to believe that we've never questioned yet. Do I actually believe that or not? And there's absolutely nothing to lose. Exploring a teaching like the Science of Mind does not ask us to give up anything else or to leave our own religious beliefs.
That's
And
important. That's
it,
important. Let me
and
just say for you right now, I just want to back space a little bit because Holmes drew from various spiritual traditions. So just like our particular minister at Unity of the Palm Beaches, he can be given a sermon and drawing from Buddhist teachings that apply. And every religion that I know of talks about love, and about being kind to your fellow man. And that is what's so great about Science of Mind is there is that connection to the divine through a holistic approach. Is that what I'm saying pretty specific?
absolutely. And that also speaks to what you're demonstrating here for me and the listeners, Mimi, is your growth mindset, your growth minded mindset, which could be a topic for another day if you want to.
Yes.
And so then somebody with a growth minded mindset will be open to explore teachings like this, even if you don't know if they're for you or not. It's like, I'm going to see what's there. So then we can draw on all the teachings of the world and take what we align with, take
Mhm.
what we feel better from, take what we feel leaves us on more solid ground, and use it regardless of what path it was taken. So all paths to one mountaintop.
Right.
So, and to accept that not everybody, and this is psychologically proven, not everybody, even a high majority, if the psychology data is true, 80% of the people, humans, have a fixed mindset.
Yes.
So they're not open. They're not open at the top. They're not as open to learning or exploring or adventuring or to see, is questioning even, is that true for me? So it's accepting that these teachings and our ways of being are likely for a minority of people, and whatever minority they're for, we still hold a power to influence the whole as we cultivate our own open-mindedness and our own growth, our own expansion of our open-mindedness mindset.
Wow.
And exploring teachings like this would be
Yeah.
one example of that.
Well, the thing is, I was Catholic because I was born Catholic, and that's what my parents told me I was. And I loved being a Catholic as a little girl. I loved the pomp and circumstance, the rituals, the degrees you went through, communion and confirmation. And I stayed Catholic right up until the time I had to get divorced, and they excommunicated me from the church. And then I said, wait a minute, I didn't do anything wrong. He cheated on me. And I kind of was just floating around with like keeping some of the principles, but being resentful. And I did that for a long time. And when we came to Florida and we went to Unity at the Palm Beaches, as we were walking up the steps, my husband said, "We're going to hell." Because he was even more devout Catholic than me. So, spirit, when we used to talk about spirit in the Catholic religion, it was thought of as the Holy Spirit and outside of ourselves. What do you think of when you hear spirit? How do you define it?
Well, it's like other words like God and love that I don't claim to know anything about defining. So the spirit of me, for my direct experience, is the part of me that I think has no beginning and think and feel that it has no beginning and no end.
Mm.
This experience that I'm in is a part of a whole. And when this experience is over, when this body is laid to rest, when this body dies off, that there's an aspect of myself that I call spirit that has an ongoing, that cannot be killed, that cannot die, that cannot be hurt, that is cannot be threatened. And many of the religious traditions refer to this in their own ways. And that my spirit is always intact. And even while my personality is trying to take over, or the wounded, hurt child aspects of myself are at play and presenting themselves, that the spirit is ever present for it all as a witness or an observer.
Mm.
So the spiritual realm then, to explore spirituality, includes for me an embracing of this spirit, a contemplation, which you refer to the practices of prayer and meditation. Is my practice is to commune with my spirit, with the spirit as me, and to develop a relationship that's more deep and abiding, therefore ever growing, as well as to look at the other aspects of me that only have glimmers of the spirit, that are afraid and panicked and doubtful and
Mm.
not as courageous, not as clear, not as compassionate, not as connected, and
Yeah.
to include it all. And
Yeah,
oversold for that.
that was very detailed. And let me go to this now. You said that most people are not open-minded enough to explore things like this. And there's a lot of people in this world that believe in cause and effect. This happened, that's why this happened. So somebody invaded Poland and now we're going to have World War III. But I think you believe that there's much more than just cause and effect. Why is that?
You mean, why do I believe it?
Yeah, why do you believe there's more than just cause and effect?
Well, it's because I have direct experience of things that I can't explain.
Mm,
And
mm.
absolute direct experience, certainty, confirmation, affirmation, reality-based clarity that there is a complexity to our system here, to our world, and to, in your example, things like war, that looks like it may be A did something to B and caused a war, that is not including what's going on in the larger atmosphere, or what happened in the history there, what's prevalent in the culture that would have contributed to that, what's present in the emotional realms and the psychological realms of the people within that country and those tribes and those families there that would cause that. So there's not one thing that caused it. It's like saying this one straw broke a camel's back. It's like one straw didn't break a camel's back. One
Yeah.
straw was the tipping point. One
Exactly.
straw was the cause of was the limit of what it could bear. But there was a lot more in the camel's back, on the camel's back, than the one straw. And
Right.
it's certainty of this. And the direct realization, my primary spiritual practice is to accept the mystery of it.
Exactly.
And know how planets stay in orbit, how they spin around, and how what the value of floods are, what the values of drought are, and they're still included.
So, how do we reach, or how do we talk to someone that wants to be reached, that has a stuck mindset and knows it, and wants to experience a higher self and live in wholeness? How can we help them experience that?
Well, for me, it's like really testing it out to see, are they really, even though they claim they may be wanting that, that may or may not be true. So it's like a masterful approach then to kind of wait and see, or to ask a question or two, or to make an offering or two with, here's what's been helpful to me, or here's what I can recommend, and see, are they actually interested, or are they just saying they're interested? Because we're trying to connect, we're trying to make futile attempts to keep a persona intact, to be a somebody. So I've often and witnessed it regularly in people pretending that we're interested in things that we're just not. So for me, it's like I've got a genuine offering like this. I can put out an offering. In your case, you're offering it through a podcast and through your inquiry and your understanding about what the science of mind is. So now you and I have done our part to put this out into the world. And then it's a surrender to that. Then whoever's benefited by it is benefited by it, and I don't get to direct that. I don't get to walk around and spoon feed people my belief systems or my favorite books or anything like that, especially if they're not asking. And if asking, I can offer, and then if they receive it, if they apply it, then that's them. That was not my doing.
Yeah, I think of the early days of AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, where, Bill and Dr. Bob would literally drag the drunks off the street into their home, but they weren't asking for help. And it took them a while to figure that out, that they had to ask. And even now, if somebody comes to a meeting and they're having some struggle with some of the steps, we often say to them, take what you want and leave the rest. You don't have to swallow it whole. And that has worked now for 100 years. It is just tested and proven to be a good way to do it. So
Then in that vein, in that example of 12 steps as a spiritual process, as an opportunity and invitation for sobriety, and to understand that sobriety is a goal. Sobriety is a direction for our life. It's not a tick box exercise. So when you put the cork in the bottle, it's like that's the beginning of sobriety. That's not the end of sobriety. Then I've still got to look at all the feelings and all the causes and all the hurts and all the letdowns and disappointments that caused me to reach for the bottle to begin with.
Exactly. And that's an ongoing process. I'm a witness to that. So I loved your book, Pearls of Wisdom. And now you recently published a new book called Presence and Potential. So tell us about that. Oh,
So
there it is, right there.
Presence and Potential. This is available on Amazon. And this is, I'm often asked, like, Martha, just tell us how to.
Yeah, right.
Well, I can tell you how I've done it. And if you're benefited by it, it's like, then it's a bonus. So this book is really a culmination of what I've been practicing 20 years that are actual practices. So the first chapter, for example, is called Define Yourself to Others and Stay Connected to Them.
Mm.
That sounds so simple, like, oh yeah, that would be a good idea. But it's like, to do it is extremely hard to do when somebody is disagreeing with us or criticizing us or shaming us because of our beliefs or manipulating us or controlling us or giving their best efforts at doing so. It's no little thing to say, I can define what I think and feel. I can define what I believe, my own convictions, and be just as willing for somebody else to have their beliefs, their thoughts, their feelings, and they be different.
Oh, wow. And that I so relate to that because I'm going through something with a family member right now. And I can use those things that you just said. So, okay, so there is a difference, which is very hard sometimes to regulate. And like you said, regulating ourselves, we can't regulate others. And
Chapter 2, regulate anxiety. Yes.
So distinguishing between facts and feelings. So I will say, like, this person I love very much, and she's lied to me in the past, and I can't not confront her with that. But yet she will act like it's no big deal and want to just go on her merry way. And I have been saying the word no a lot more these days because I know I can only take care of myself. And I'm sure you believe in the power of the word no.
Well, I believe in the power of an honest no.
An honestness. No. What do you mean by that?
Different than saying no. An honest no.
Okay.
And if I'm not giving honest no's, I may be more in a knee-jerk relationship, like a no, 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 no to you. No, you hurt my feelings. No, I'm not going to do that. No, you lied to me.
Uh-huh.
Instead of like, it's not an honest no if I want a relationship with this woman or man or whoever it is. then I can say, I still have hurt feelings, from that experience of where you lied about something. And I still deal with those. And I can be honest about that and still not let that one encounter or that one lie or that handful of lies or whatever it was rob me of this relationship if I actually want this relationship.
Yeah.
And I have to limit how much I can extend myself or limit how much risk I can take with it or something, but it doesn't have to be all or nothing. And I know for me, I awakened Mimi to my judgment about other people's lying was my inability to look at how I lie
Mm.
and to see how normal it is, because we've been taught and then believed innocently that lying is B-A-D,
Yeah.
very bad,
Yeah.
very wrong, instead of looking at how people generally lie when they don't feel safe.
Uh-huh.
Lie when they don't feel like there's room for the truth or that they're going to be okay standing in their truth. And I know I lied to myself that people shouldn't lie, for example. So then I'm under my own spell versus waking myself up to people do lie, people will lie, and I'm equipped for that. I don't have to lose my own sense of empowerment because I'm in the face of somebody lying, not telling the truth or being dishonest. And I don't have to live under the spell I'm under that people are going to 100% tell the truth all the time or else. And it's like, that's my own lie to myself versus no, people will lie. People in relationship with me will lie. People close to me will lie. Friends will lie to me. And it's included, just like other things in the world I don't prefer are included. And I must include them or I live more stressed and more hostage to them.
Yes, that's so true. And it's funny because in the process of publishing my third book, which is actually a workbook to heal from trauma and abuse. It's called Be Heard, Surviving Your Demons. And there is a chapter on lying. And it's funny. But I list all the different types of lies. And my experience with people in those terms of that kind of lying. And then at the end of the chapter, there are questions and reflection pages for the reader, because I think a lot of young people get devastated when they're lied to. Like you said, after a while, with age comes wisdom, and we know everybody's going to lie, and we still might be upset, but not devastated. So that's one chapter, and it goes right along with what you're saying. So let's go back to your book. What inspired you to write Presence and Potential?
Well, my mission, which is to get empowered teachings to the whole of the world. And these are teachings that have continued to be, after decades, transformational for me. So I didn't technically write a book. I simply put forward what I was practicing. And from a recording, it was transcribed. And so I have presented workshops on this very material, this exact material, for decades now. So it's like, this is the next iteration of it. And it meets my goals to serve those who are serving and to get empowered teachings to the whole of the world. And it's like the material already existed. So get it in print and get it out there. That's my calling. That is my fulfillment. I've done my part. And then for my birthday month, which is February, I read the book out loud and recorded it and have released a chapter a day during February. So by the end of February, the whole book will be out in audio visual form, video and audio, for people that can't read, won't read, can't buy a book. So I've made the material accessible that way at no charge whatsoever.
Yeah, I know the feeling. How do you think personal experience or stories in your book, can you share any of those, like a personal story that's related to the themes in your book, like we just talked about?
Well, many,
Just give
include
me one.
um, my awakening to lying that
Okay.
when my baby brother, who was alcoholic and was in a rehab center, and the family was called to go in there to be part of their recovery, their 30 days of rehabbing and recovery.
Yep.
I
Mhm.
was asked to speak to Randy directly in a group setting, and this was the love of my life, this little brother of mine. And until just a month ago, I called him my baby brother, but I'm shifting out of that because he wasn't my baby. I was not his mother, but I took on a lot of responsibility for him that was never actually mine. So it's like recalibrating that. The reality was that I was his sister, he was my brother. So the relationship and the responsibility I'd taken on for him was not true. It was not accurate. And as we were sharing what the pain to us was of his using and alcoholism and getting arrested and in jail and not caring for his family and things like that, what I heard myself saying over and over in that session was the lying. The lying is what's so painful. Stop the lying, stop the lying, stop the lying. And I awakened to it. Like the chances that he will quit lying are zero,
Yes.
zero. So this awakening is then that I must quit lying to myself that he's going to quit lying, or that he even the capability of that. And my mother used to say it as he's lied so much he doesn't even know that he's lying.
Right. He believes his own lies. Right.
Yes, yes.
Mm.
I witnessed someone that was in a very intense situation that had been um, baiting young girls to get together with them.
Mm.
So pedophilia. And in that case with this man, he was on record in emails and in text and in phone calls communicating with her, telling her who he is, what he's going to do for her, what she'll get out of this, and how to meet up with him and everything. And then it was a sting operation. And when he went over there to meet her, the police was there to arrest him. And he denied any of it. And they put out in front of him, here's an email from you. No, I didn't send any email. Here's a recorded call. No, I've never made a phone call.
Mm-hmm.
The depths of this lying, the depths of the denial, and the depths of our parts of us that didn't know anything else to do but use denial, regression, repression, suppression, and all of that is powerful.
Mm-hmm.
The lying then is to be understood for me, not judged.
Yeah. Yeah. That chapter in my book about lying, my personal story and experiences are my two ex-husbands, which that's it. You know, they deny and try to gaslight you, and it's crazy. And to go through that is painful, like you said, but then to think they're not going to do it again. Like if you say, I'm sorry, I'm never going to do that again. I'm never going to cheat on you again. And you want to believe that. And you know, so you go ahead and guess what? It happens again. And you know, that's what life is. It's having experiences, good and bad, but learning from them, hopefully, and growing. You agree?
In that case, yes, and amen. And for us to be the one that does less lying. So
Yes.
I hear their promises, which is classic in those relationships, classic in addictive emotional dynamics and binds and bonds, to make
Yes.
promises, to know that I am the one that's lying to myself. So if they don't cheat again, then that's up to them. That's on them. But my staying engaged with somebody, my staying enrolled, married to, willing for them to do it again was my own risk. That was me doing that to me, not them doing something to me.
Exactly. In my case, each one, my limit was 7 years. I didn't know what it is, 7 years, but that's what I had enough with each of them. And my present husband, who I'm with, like for, I don't even know, 36 years maybe. When we were together 7 years, he said, "Are you keeping me?" It was our little joke.
Well, so far, honey, yeah.
So far, yeah, so far he hasn't lied to me. He's good. Um, Listen, all this information, you have a website that it's going to be on, and I believe it's just marthacreek.com. Is that it?
Correct, easy to find. That's so how people can contact me right through that website. The number's there, my email. There's hundreds and hundreds of free videos and presentations and all
Yeah.
matters that can benefit people, some people.
And feel free to put this on if you'd like. I'm going to make a video for you too. And also, do you have a YouTube channel that you
Yes, Martha Creek. Mhm.
start on? Okay, good.
Yep, and all that Science of Mind teaching, the whole year of immersion is out there, as well as these rules and various talks and podcasts and things where people explore like you are here today. That's all available there on that YouTube channel.
That's great. And I put all this out on my social media too, and on my YouTube channel and my podcast, because I'm trying to help others. That's my mission, to not have to be in pain as long as I was in pain, to maybe find the journey, the road, the right turn a little sooner. So thank you so much, Martha, for coming on. I always love talking to you. You
You're
know,
very welcome. You're very welcome. I'm glad. I appreciate the invite, and whoever's listening, you do not have to do this alone. Whatever you're experiencing, you absolutely, there's support for you all around, and you cannot do it wrong, even when it looks like you're doing it wrong. Stay the course, do what you can, and
yeah,
it'll take longer than you like. So it is a life's work,
it
not
is. So,
not an overnight enlightenment
but
journey.
it gets easier once you learn, once you know the road you're on and how to stay on the right road and what to do. Thanks
Yeah.
again, Martha. And we will have you back again in a couple of months and talk about mindset and the growth of your mindset. Okay.
Blessings, everybody. Thank you, Mimi.
Thank you, honey. Bye bye.